Every great conversation starts with courage, not perfection. Most people stay quiet, not because they have nothing to say, but because they fear being misunderstood. They think others are born with charisma, born with charm, born with words that flow like magic. But the truth is, communication isn't a gift, it's a skill. And like any skill, it can be learned, practiced, and mastered. This journey will teach you how to speak, so people listen, how to connect so people remember, and how to carry yourself with the kind of confidence that changes every room you walk into. So if you've ever struggled to express yourself, to hold a conversation, or to leave an impact, stay till the end. Because after this, you'll never see talking to people the same way again. And before we begin, make sure you subscribe, because what you're about to learn can transform not just the way you speak, but the way you live. Chapter 1. The first impression speaks before you do. Before you say a single word, the world has already heard you. Your posture, your eyes, your tone, the way you walk into a room, they speak long before your voice does. This is the silent conversation that shapes every interaction you'll ever have. People don't meet your words first. They meet your presence. They feel your energy before they hear your sentences. That's why first impressions matter, not because you need to impress people, but because you need to express confidence, calmness, and authenticity without even trying. The truth is, most people don't remember what you say at first. They remember how you made them feel. They remember your energy. They remember your attitude. They remember whether your presence felt heavy or light, confident or uncertain, open or closed. You can't fake presence. It's something that comes from the inside. It's the silent language of your emotions, your beliefs, your sense of worth. And when that energy aligns, when you feel at peace with yourself, your first impression naturally becomes magnetic. Confidence is not in how you stand taller than others. It's in how comfortable you are in your own skin. When you enter a room without pretending, without performing, without trying to be liked, people feel it. That calm confidence tells them you're safe to be around. That's the first language of connection. Every first impression is built on 3 layers: how you look, how you move, and how you make others feel. But it's not about being perfect in any of them. It's about being consistent. When your energy, body language, and tone match, people sense truth. When they don't, people sense tension. Your body speaks constantly, even when you stay silent. Your shoulders reveal confidence or doubt. Your eyes reveal attention or anxiety. Your gestures reveal patience or pressure. People read these signs subconsciously, and they decide often in seconds whether to trust you or keep their distance. That's why first impressions aren't luck. They're emotional awareness in action. When you walk into a room, don't rush to fill the air with words. Pause. Observe. Take a slow, steady breath. Let your body settle before your voice begins. This moment of stillness grounds you, and grounding is what makes presence powerful. The nervous energy that drives you to talk quickly or move too much is simply fear trying to find control. But silence, steady posture, and a calm gaze show real confidence, the kind that doesn't need to prove itself. People are drawn to those who seem centered. They feel safe around them, because deep down everyone's searching for someone who won't add to their chaos. Your presence can be that peace. The way you enter a conversation matters as much as what you say in it. A small smile, a relaxed tone, a simple "hi, good to see you," with genuine warmth, these small gestures carry emotional weight. They tell people that you're approachable, respectful, and emotionally aware. Remember, everyone carries invisible tension. A kind tone softens it. A calm gaze dissolves it. A confident posture resets it. You don't need expensive clothes or rehearsed words to make a great first impression. You need self-awareness. You need emotional clarity. You need alignment between who you are and how you show up. That alignment is everything. If your words say confidence but your body says fear, people believe your body. If your smile says kindness but your tone carries exhaustion, people believe your tone. If your eyes look distracted, they feel unseen, no matter how polite your words sound. So train your energy before you train your language. Start with your breath. Breathe slowly, deeply, before speaking. Feel your body. Relax your shoulders. Keep your head level. Let your voice rise naturally from that calm. Your nervous system controls your communication more than your vocabulary does. When you're calm, your tone deepens, your words slow, your rhythm smooths out. That's what makes people listen. First impressions aren't made with effort, they're made with ease. Ease comes from preparation, not pretending. When you know your worth, you don't rush to prove it. When you know your value, you don't compete for validation. And when you know your purpose, you communicate from peace, not pressure. Every interaction has an emotional rhythm. Your job is to control yours. Don't let others' energy decide how you speak or feel. If someone is tense, stay relaxed. If someone is loud, stay measured. If someone tries to dominate, stay grounded. Your composure is your message. There's a power in slow confidence, the kind that doesn't rush, doesn't overreact, doesn't fear silence. That's what makes people listen when you finally speak. Silence used wisely can be more powerful than speech. It builds anticipation. It creates focus. It lets people feel your presence. Every leader, every great communicator, every person who commands respect without shouting, they've mastered that calm silence. They don't rush to be heard. They let presence speak first. Your first impression, then, is not an accident. It's a reflection of your inner world. If you carry stress, people feel it. If you carry peace, people feel that too. That's why self-awareness is the foundation of all communication. You can't connect with others deeply until you've connected with yourself honestly. Look at yourself in the mirror before your next meeting or conversation. Notice your posture. Notice your breathing. Notice your eyes. Are they calm, restless, or heavy? Because that's what others will see, not your words but your energy. You don't need to change who you are to make a better impression. You just need to align with your best self before you step forward. When you do that, your presence naturally becomes powerful. You'll notice people look at you longer, listen more closely, and respond more openly. Because in a world of noise, calm energy stands out. Your first impression doesn't need to be loud. It needs to be real. People forget forced charm. They remember authentic warmth. They forget fake confidence. They remember quiet strength. So stop trying to be interesting. Start being interested. When you make others feel valued, your presence becomes unforgettable. When you listen with your eyes and speak with your energy, your first impression becomes your legacy. You don't need to impress anyone. You just need to express who you truly are, clearly, calmly, and confidently. Because the first impression doesn't start when you speak. It starts when you show up. Chapter 2. The Art of Starting a Conversation. Every great connection begins with a single word. A simple hi. A calm smile. A small gesture that says, I'm open. That's how communication starts. Not with perfection, but with intention. Starting a conversation is an art because it takes courage, timing, and awareness. Most people wait for the perfect moment, the perfect line, the perfect mood. But there's no perfect moment. There's only now. Every person you meet carries a world within them. You never know what story they're living, what emotion they're hiding, what opportunity lies behind a single exchange. That's why learning to start conversations changes everything. It opens doors you didn't know existed. It builds bridges where silence built walls. It takes you from being invisible to unforgettable. The first step to starting a conversation is presence. Be there fully, not trapped in your phone, not lost in thoughts, not rehearsing what to say next. People feel when your energy is divided. They also feel when it's focused. Look up. Make eye contact. A gentle nod. A small smile. These little signals tell others, it's safe to talk to me. You don't need clever lines. You need warmth. People remember how easy it felt to talk to you, not what you said. When your energy is calm, your words don't have to work hard. They flow naturally, because connection isn't built on perfect phrasing. It's built on emotional safety. Starting a conversation is about removing fear. Not only your fear, but theirs too. Everyone worries about being judged. Everyone fears rejection. So when you show up with a relaxed tone and genuine interest, you instantly make others feel comfortable. That comfort is connection. The simplest way to start any conversation is to notice. Notice something in the environment. Notice something about the person. Notice what you genuinely feel in that moment. Then express it softly, naturally, without pressure. It can be as simple as "It's peaceful here today," or "That's a nice color on you," or even "I've seen you around. I thought I'd say hello." These are not lines. They're doors. And the more authentic the door, the easier it opens. Your tone is everything. It's not what you say, it's how you make them feel when you say it. A warm tone invites. A rushed tone pushes. A monotone disconnects. When you speak slowly with softness, people relax. They trust the rhythm of your voice before they trust your words. Once a conversation begins, don't rush to fill silence. Let it breathe. Pauses aren't awkward when your energy is calm. They give space for meaning. The best conversations are not forced. They flow. They expand naturally. They move from words to emotions, from topics to connection. The art of starting a conversation lies in balance. The balance between speaking and listening, between curiosity and respect. Curiosity opens people up, but respect keeps them comfortable. When you show genuine interest, people feel seen. When you respect boundaries, people feel safe. That's how you turn strangers into friends, colleagues into allies, moments into memories. Confidence plays a role too, but real confidence doesn't come from rehearsed lines. It comes from self-acceptance. When you stop overthinking how you sound and start focusing on how you make others feel, your confidence becomes natural. You don't need to impress anyone. You just need to connect. Connection is not about being the most interesting person in the room. It's about being the most interested. That's the secret every great communicator knows. When someone feels that you're truly paying attention, they lean closer. They open up. They begin to trust you with their words. That's the moment real communication begins. Be fully engaged. Listen to their tone, their expressions, their rhythm. These tell you more than their sentences ever will. You'll know when to speak, when to smile, and when to simply nod and let them finish. This balance makes conversations effortless. Over time, you'll start to realize something beautiful. You don't need to plan conversations anymore. They'll start happening naturally. Why? Because people can sense sincerity. They can feel when your intentions are kind, when your interest is real, and nothing draws people closer than authenticity. The art of starting a conversation is the art of being human again. It's remembering that behind every face there's a heart wanting to be understood. In a world full of distraction, genuine presence is rare. That's why it's powerful. One calm voice can change the energy of a room. One real conversation can shift a day. One kind exchange can change a life. Never underestimate what a few honest words can do. Whether it's greeting a coworker, meeting a stranger, or starting a talk with someone important, bring warmth first, not words. Your first words don't have to be perfect. They just have to be real. And when your heart leads, your words follow. Over time, you'll stop seeing conversations as challenges. You'll see them as opportunities, opportunities to learn, to understand, to connect. You'll stop fearing people and start enjoying them. You'll start realizing that most people aren't scary. They're just waiting for someone brave enough to break the silence. Be that person. Start the talk. Start it gently. Start it humbly. Start it now. Because communication isn't about knowing what to say. It's about daring to begin. And once you begin, everything changes. That's the art of starting a conversation. Not speaking perfectly, but speaking truthfully. Not trying to be heard, but trying to connect. Chapter 3. Building connection through listening. Real communication begins when you stop talking. When your focus shifts from being heard to truly hearing. Listening is not waiting for your turn to speak. It's giving someone space to exist without interruption. It's the rare kind of silence that says, "I care." In a world full of noise, listening has become a forgotten art. Everyone is shouting opinions, pushing ideas, and racing to be noticed. But the ones who listen, really listen, are the ones who create trust. When you listen with presence, people open up. They soften. They feel seen. They start to reveal who they really are. Because being listened to is one of the purest forms of validation. It tells someone, you matter, and that feeling changes everything. Every great communicator is a great listener first. Words may impress people, but listening connects them. Listening is emotional intelligence in action. It's awareness, patience, and empathy combined into one quiet moment. When someone speaks to you, don't rush to fix, advise, or analyze. Just listen. Let their words breathe. Let their emotions unfold. Sometimes people don't need answers. They just need understanding. When you listen deeply, you start to hear more than sentences. You hear tone. You hear pauses. You hear what's not being said. That silence between words, that hesitation, often carries the real message. And only a calm listener can catch it. Listening is not passive. It's active presence. Your body listens as much as your ears do. Your eyes, your posture, your nods, they all tell the speaker, "I'm here." A distracted mind can't listen. If you're thinking of your reply while they're talking, you've already stopped hearing them. True listening means surrendering your need to respond. It's choosing to understand before being understood. That choice changes the entire dynamic of communication. When you listen deeply, people feel safe around you. They stop performing. They stop defending. They start trusting. And in that trust, real connection begins. At work, at home, or anywhere in between, listening is the foundation of influence. The best leaders don't lead through loudness. They lead through listening. They absorb before they decide. They let others feel valued before they speak. And that's why their words later carry more power. Because when people feel heard, they're more willing to listen back. Listening gives birth to understanding. Understanding builds empathy. Empathy creates cooperation. That's how connection grows. Listening requires humility. It's admitting you don't know everything. It's accepting that someone else's experience has value too. Most conflicts would end faster if people listened more and defended less. Because behind every argument is someone who just wants to feel understood. Listening diffuses tension. It calms the storm before it begins. It creates a space where ego disappears and humanity shows up. When you listen without judgment, people reveal truth. When they feel you're not trying to fix them, they heal through your silence. That's the power of presence. To build connection through listening, slow down. Don't chase speed in conversations. Chase sincerity. Let your attention be gentle but steady. Keep your phone down. Make eye contact. Show that your mind is not elsewhere. Because attention is the highest form of respect. The way you listen becomes the way people remember you. They may forget your name, your job, your achievements, but they'll never forget the peace they felt while talking to you. Good listeners make others feel lighter. They make heavy thoughts easier to carry. That's why some people are so easy to talk to. They listen without filters. They let you speak without rushing to control the story. Listening is not about silence alone. It's about empathy inside the silence. Even a few words like "I understand" or a calm nod can mean more than long advice. You don't have to agree with everything someone says to listen deeply. You just have to respect their truth. The most magnetic communicators are those who make people feel heard, not those who speak the most. If you want to connect deeply, listen fully. Don't half listen while planning your next line. Let your mind stay where your body is. That level of presence transforms any conversation, from surface to soul. When you practice listening daily, your relationships change. People start sharing more. They start trusting more. They start coming to you not because you talk well, but because you make them feel safe. And that's the greatest compliment a communicator can ever receive. Listening builds bridges where ego builds walls. It heals tension faster than logic ever could. It turns strangers into friends. It turns conversations into understanding. Listening doesn't need education. It needs patience. It needs heart. It's something every human can do, yet so few choose to. But when you choose to listen, you choose connection over control. You choose understanding over reaction. You choose peace over pride. And in a world where everyone is trying to be heard, the one who listens becomes unforgettable. Because connection is not found in speaking more. It's found in listening better. Listening is how trust begins. It's how communication becomes meaningful. And it's how relationships last. So next time someone speaks, don't prepare your reply. Prepare your attention. Give them your silence. Give them your presence. Give them the gift of being understood. That's how you build connection through listening, not by saying the right things, but by creating a space where others can. Chapter 4. The confidence to keep a conversation flowing. Confidence is not about knowing everything. It's about staying calm when you don't. The flow of a conversation doesn't depend on how much you talk. It depends on how comfortably you stay present. Most people break the flow because they panic in silence. They think a pause means failure, but silence is not a problem. It's part of the rhythm. Real confidence lives in your ability to stay relaxed in those quiet seconds, to breathe, to smile, to let the moment unfold naturally. Conversations are like rivers. They don't always run fast. Sometimes they move gently. Sometimes they slow down. But they always find a way forward when the flow is respected. When you stop forcing it, connection starts forming. The key to keeping a conversation flowing is emotional balance. When you're anxious, your energy becomes heavy. When you're calm, your energy becomes inviting. People feel your energy before they understand your words. If your tone feels rushed, they shut down. If your tone feels peaceful, they open up. That's why the best communicators focus less on impressing and more on staying comfortable. Their ease becomes the listener's ease. Confidence is rhythm. It's the pace of your tone, the openness of your posture, the warmth of your presence. When you're relaxed, conversations flow naturally because people mirror your calm. It's not your job to entertain. It's your job to connect. Every conversation has an emotional heartbeat. When you listen to that rhythm, you always know what to say next. Don't rush to fill space with random words. Feel the moment. Respond with sincerity. A small smile. A thoughtful nod. A few simple words like, "I get what you mean," or "That's interesting." These are not fillers. They are bridges. They keep energy moving without pressure. Confidence in conversation is built through self-trust. When you trust yourself to handle whatever comes, you stop worrying about saying the wrong thing. That's when your speech becomes natural. That's when your voice carries ease. People can sense when you're comfortable in your own skin. It gives them permission to relax too. You don't need perfect timing or flawless grammar. You need authenticity. Speak from experience. Speak from emotion. Speak from the moment. That's how real conversations breathe. When you speak from truth, you never run out of things to say, because truth connects faster than cleverness ever could. Confidence also means accepting that not everyone will respond perfectly. Some people will be distracted. Some will be quiet. Some won't match your energy. That's okay. You can't control them. You can only control how you show up. Your steadiness is your message. Stay grounded. Stay patient. Stay present. And remember, conversations aren't performances. They're exchanges of energy. Don't think of what you'll say next. Think of how you'll make them feel next. When you shift focus from self to connection, your flow returns effortlessly. The confident speaker listens more than they speak. They allow space for others to share. They respond slowly, thoughtfully, as if each word matters, because it does. That's what gives their voice weight, not volume, not speed, but calm conviction. When you talk too fast, people lose trust. When you talk too little, they lose interest. When you talk just enough, with rhythm and honesty, they stay. Confidence grows with experience. Each conversation teaches you a new rhythm. Each interaction builds your composure. You'll learn that flow doesn't mean never pausing. It means never panicking. Silence is not your enemy. It's your ally. It gives depth to your words. Think of music. Notes matter, but so do pauses. Without silence, even melody becomes noise. The same is true in speech. Let your pauses breathe. Let your voice rise and fall gently. That rhythm keeps people engaged without effort. Another secret to flow is curiosity. When you're genuinely interested in others, conversation never feels forced. Ask yourself silently, what's important to this person? Then listen for the answer between their words. Curiosity replaces pressure. It removes the need to sound smart. It replaces performance with presence. When you care, people can feel it. And when they feel it, they open up. That's how flow happens, through genuine emotional exchange. Confidence also grows when you stop overthinking your image. The more you chase perfection, the more disconnected you become. People don't want flawless conversation. They want real connection. So be real. Laugh naturally. Admit when you don't know something. Share small stories that reveal your humanity. Those moments of vulnerability are what keep people engaged. A perfect conversation is not one without mistakes. It's one where both people feel safe to be themselves. And that safety begins with your confidence. Confidence is not loud. It's steady. It's composed. It's honest. You don't need to know everything. You just need to trust that what you do know is enough. When your words come from peace, your conversations never feel forced. You'll find yourself listening better, responding slower, smiling more. That's when flow becomes natural. A confident communicator never chases approval. They create comfort. They don't dominate the space. They guide it gently. Their voice doesn't shout for attention. It invites it. That's what keeps people drawn to them. Flow in communication is the result of emotional control. When you don't let nerves rule you, you don't lose rhythm. Your breathing steadies. Your posture aligns. Your words land clearly. The moment you stop trying to perform, you begin to connect. Every smooth conversation you've ever had came from presence, not perfection. So breathe. Speak from truth. Listen with calm, and let each word come from sincerity. That's how confidence sustains flow, not by controlling conversation, but by surrendering to it. When you stop forcing connection, it starts forming naturally. That's the beauty of confident communication. It feels effortless, but it's built on awareness. The best communicators don't try to lead conversations. They let conversations lead them, while guiding gently with intention. Because real confidence is quiet power. It doesn't rush. It doesn't chase. It simply flows. And when you master that, every interaction with friends, colleagues, or strangers becomes a dance, not a debate. You stop worrying about what to say. You start focusing on how to be. And that's when talking to anyone feels easy, because it's no longer about talking. It's about connecting. That's the confidence that keeps conversations flowing. Not the loudness of your words, but the calm within your presence. Chapter 5. The Power of Body Language in Communication. Before your words reach anyone's ears, your body has already spoken. It tells your story before you open your mouth. It reveals confidence, fear, honesty, or hesitation, often louder than any sentence ever could. Body language is the silent music of human connection. It's the rhythm that makes people feel what words alone cannot express. You don't realize how much you communicate without speaking. The way you stand, the way your shoulders rest, the way your hands move, the way your eyes hold contact. Every movement is a message. Even silence carries tone when your body is involved. A single glance can invite someone in, or push them away. We all speak two languages at once, verbal and nonverbal. And when these two languages align, people trust you. But when they conflict, people feel uneasy. You can say all the right words, but if your posture says tension, your message gets lost in the noise. People don't just listen to your words, they listen to your energy. When your body language matches your message, your communication feels real. When it doesn't, it feels forced. That's why mastering your body language isn't about control. It's about awareness. Awareness of how your presence feels to others. Awareness of what your body says, even when you're silent. Every conversation begins long before speech. It starts with how you enter a room. The quiet confidence in your step, the calm in your breathing, the openness in your gaze. People decide within seconds if they can trust you, and they make that decision based on signals you're not even aware you're sending. Confidence doesn't come from loud movements. It comes from stillness. It comes from comfort within your own body. When you're at ease, your energy expands. When you're tense, your energy contracts. And people feel the difference immediately. If you walk with hurried steps, they sense anxiety. If you fidget with your hands, they sense insecurity. If your shoulders slump, they sense uncertainty. But when your shoulders stay open, when your chin stays level, when your breathing stays slow, they sense calm. And calm always feels like confidence. The truth is, your body always tells the truth. Even when your words lie, your posture won't. It's the mirror of your emotions. It exposes your fears. It expresses your peace. That's why self-awareness is the foundation of confident body language. Before trying to change how you look, focus on how you feel. Because your body follows your emotions. When your mind is tense, your body tightens. When your mind is peaceful, your body relaxes. To master your body language, master your inner state first. Speak less with your hands and more with your presence. Presence is felt, not seen. It's the quiet energy that fills a room even when you're not speaking. People remember how comfortable they felt around you more than what you said. That comfort begins in your posture. Your body should always say, "I'm calm, I'm grounded, I'm here." That's what draws people in. Eye contact is one of the most powerful tools you have. It's not about staring, it's about connection. It shows attention without pressure, respect without fear. When you look someone in the eye with warmth, you build trust. When you look away too quickly, you break it. Balance your gaze. Hold it gently. Let it move naturally. That's what makes you approachable, not intimidating. Your smile is another form of body language. It's not decoration. It's communication. A genuine smile lowers tension faster than 1,000 words of explanation. It tells people you're safe, you're open, you're human. Forced smiles don't work. People can sense fakeness in an instant. A real smile starts from the eyes, not the lips. It's small, calm, unhurried. It feels natural, not performed. Your hands tell stories too. They should move freely, not mechanically. Too many gestures show nervousness. Too few show stiffness. Find your rhythm. Use your hands to emphasize emotion, not to fill silence. Let movement support meaning. When you speak about something you believe in, your hands will naturally align with your words. That authenticity builds connection. Posture is another silent message. The way you sit or stand speaks volume. Sit up straight, but not rigid. Stand tall, but not tense. A relaxed posture sends a clear signal. You are in control of yourself. and you're open to others. The smallest physical details create emotional impact. A nod, a steady breath, a still shoulder, a slow turn of the head. These actions build emotional rhythm, because communication is not performance. It's energy exchange, and your body is the channel that carries that energy. People often think charisma is a mystery, but charisma is simply alignment, when your body, tone, and words all speak the same truth. That's what creates magnetism. The person who believes in their message doesn't have to exaggerate their movements. They already radiate authenticity. Every great communicator moves with purpose. They don't rush. They don't fidget. They use space wisely. Their presence fills a room not because of their size, but because of their stillness. Stillness is the language of confidence. It tells others that you're not afraid of silence. You're not desperate to impress, and you're not pretending to be more than you are. When you learn to master your body language, you stop fighting for attention. You start commanding it, silently. You'll notice how people begin leaning closer, how they start listening longer, how your calm posture makes others speak more freely. That's the unseen power of presence. You don't force engagement. You create it through energy. The body language also plays a key role in empathy. When you mirror someone's posture gently, when you nod at the right moments, when your expressions align with their emotions, you create emotional harmony. People feel understood, even when no words are spoken. That's how you build emotional connection faster than logic ever could. Body language is not just about what others see. It's about what they feel while being around you. If your energy is peaceful, your communication feels safe. If your energy is anxious, your communication feels pressured. So before every conversation, ground yourself. Take a slow breath, loosen your shoulders, unclench your jaw, remind your body, you are safe. That small reset changes everything. You can't fake calm for long. You can only create it from within. And when calmness becomes your default, your body becomes your greatest communicator. You'll walk into rooms differently. You'll hold eye contact longer. You'll speak slower, deeper, clearer. You won't need to prove anything. Your presence will already say it all. Because confidence doesn't start in your words. It starts in your breath. And from that breath, your body begins to speak a language everyone understands. The language of ease. The language of truth. The language of connection. That's the power of body language. It transcends words. It builds trust, silently. It creates presence that stays even after you leave. And when your body aligns with your message, you don't just communicate, you connect. Chapter 6, Emotional Awareness in Conversation. Every word you speak carries emotion. Even when you don't say much, your energy says everything. That's why emotional awareness is not a luxury in communication. It's the foundation. People don't respond to words. They respond to feelings behind the words. You can have perfect grammar, clear pronunciation, and a confident tone, but if your emotional rhythm doesn't match the moment, the message falls flat. Emotional awareness means understanding not just what's being said, but what's being felt. It's the ability to sense the unseen, the subtle shifts in tone, body, and silence. It's knowing when someone's "I'm fine" isn't fine. It's recognizing when laughter hides nervousness. It's noticing when silence is heavier than words. This awareness turns communication from transaction to connection. When you become emotionally aware, you don't just talk. You feel through words. You read the emotional temperature of the moment, and you adjust your tone, your pace, your presence. You become someone others feel safe around because you don't just hear, you understand. Emotional awareness starts with self-awareness. Before you can sense others, you have to sense yourself. What are you feeling as you speak? Are you tense? Are you calm? Or are you distracted? Your emotional state silently guides your words. If you're anxious, your sentences rush. If you're angry, your tone hardens. If you're confident, your rhythm smooths out. The way you feel determines the way others feel around you. That's why mastering emotional awareness isn't about reading people. It's about regulating yourself. When you can manage your emotions in a conversation, stay grounded when someone gets upset. Stay soft when someone becomes defensive. Stay kind when someone feels lost. You communicate from control, not reaction. Reaction breaks flow. Awareness restores it. You can't build meaningful connection without emotional steadiness, because people trust calm. They listen to calm. They follow calm. Emotional awareness gives you that calmness. It helps you recognize your emotions as signals, not storms. When you feel frustration rising, awareness reminds you to breathe. When you sense impatience building, awareness tells you to slow down. When you detect sadness in someone else's tone, awareness makes you soften yours. That's what makes communication human, not the words but the empathy behind them. Emotional awareness means you see beyond logic. It means you listen to tone, not just content. It means you respond to what people feel, not just what they say. In every conversation, emotions are exchanging beneath the surface. Sometimes it's subtle. A glance, a sigh, a shift in the eyes. Other times it's strong, anger, excitement, fear, joy. Your awareness allows you to match that energy gracefully, to stay steady when others shake, to mirror their peace when they need reassurance. Emotionally aware people create balance in every room they enter. Their energy feels stable. Their presence feels kind. They don't absorb chaos. They calm it. You can practice this by slowing down your internal rhythm. Don't rush your reactions. Don't jump to conclusions. Let yourself feel before you respond. But pause is emotional intelligence in action. It creates space for clarity. When you pause before replying, you prevent emotion from taking control. You shift from reacting to responding. That's the moment real communication begins. Emotional awareness also means understanding emotional boundaries. Not every emotion you notice is yours to fix. Sometimes, your job is not to heal someone, just to hold space for them. You don't have to absorb everyone's feelings. You just have to respect them. Emotions are data. They tell you what's happening underneath. But you must know how to interpret them without drowning in them. When you become too reactive to others' emotions, you lose stability. When you stay aware, you stay grounded. Groundedness is what makes your communication reliable. People begin to trust that you won't overreact. They feel safe expressing themselves around you. That's emotional mastery. Not coldness, but composure. When you speak with emotional awareness, your tone adapts naturally. You speak slower when someone feels vulnerable. You use humor gently when someone feels tense. You soften when words might hurt. This flexibility is what makes communication powerful. You're not robotic. You're responsive. And responsiveness is empathy in motion. Emotionally aware communication is not about perfection. It's about presence. You don't need to analyze emotions like a therapist. You just need to care enough to notice them. The more aware you become, the more sensitive you get to energy. You start feeling when someone's mood shifts. Even before they speak, you notice when the air in a conversation changes, when laughter stops feeling real, or when silence starts feeling heavy. That sensitivity is strength, not weakness, because it gives you choice. You can choose how to respond, rather than react blindly. When you learn to stay emotionally centered, you become unshakable. No matter how heated the conversation gets, you stay composed. No matter how emotional someone becomes, you stay kind. That steadiness communicates more than words ever could. People may forget what you said, but they will never forget how safe they felt talking to you. Emotional awareness also improves leadership. When you can sense your team's morale, when you can feel tension before it explodes, when you can speak encouragement at the right time, you lead not from authority, but from understanding. That's what separates great communicators from average ones. They don't manipulate emotions, they manage them. They don't suppress emotions, they guide them. Emotions are not obstacles, they're instruments. When tuned properly, they create harmony. But when ignored, they create noise. Awareness helps you tune every emotional note in a conversation. When to raise your energy, when to lower it, when to speak, when to pause. The more emotionally aware you become, the easier it gets to navigate difficult moments. You stop taking things personally. You stop needing to win every discussion. You start focusing on connection instead of competition. That's how communication matures. It becomes peaceful, purposeful, and emotionally grounded. And that's what people crave. A voice that doesn't add to the noise, but brings calm to it. The art of emotional awareness transforms you into that voice. Your conversations become lighter. Your presence feels safer. Your influence grows naturally, because everyone is searching for someone who can stay calm in chaos. That person can be you, if you learn to understand before reacting, to feel before replying, to stay steady when emotions rise. Emotional awareness doesn't mean avoiding feelings. It means holding them wisely. It means letting others feel heard without losing yourself. It means recognizing emotions as waves, some small, some strong, but knowing they always pass if you don't fight them. The next time you talk to someone, listen with your heart as much as your ears. Notice their breathing. Notice their eyes. Notice their silence. Let empathy guide your tone. Let awareness guide your response. Let calm guide your energy. That's how communication becomes art, not through perfect speech, but through perfect presence. When you master emotional awareness, you stop talking to people's minds. You start speaking to their hearts, and that's where connection truly lives. Chapter 7: How to Build Trust with Your Words. Trust is built in the moments when words feel real. It's not built by perfection or power or promises. It's built by presence. People don't trust you because you talk well. They trust you because your words carry truth. Every sentence you speak carries an energy. That energy either strengthens trust or weakens it. You can say the right things and still lose people if your tone feels cold. You can make mistakes and still earn trust if your voice feels sincere. Because trust is not about flawless delivery. It's about emotional honesty. When your words and your energy match, people believe you. When they don't, people hesitate, even if your message sounds perfect. That's the secret most communicators forget. People don't listen with their ears alone. They listen with their intuition. They can sense when you mean what you say. They can sense when your kindness is real and when it's a script. That's why the first rule of trust is alignment. Your tone must match your truth. Your body must match your intention. Your energy must match your words. When everything aligns, people feel safe. They don't have to guess who you are. They don't have to wonder if you're hiding something. Trust grows where there's emotional clarity. The moment your words sound uncertain, the moment your tone feels forced, people's hearts close, even if their faces smile. Words build bridges, but those bridges hold only when your truth walks across them. If you want to build trust with your words, you must first become trustworthy in your silence. Because silence reveals you. It shows whether your calm is genuine or rehearsed. It shows whether your peace is real or fragile. A trustworthy communicator doesn't speak to impress. They speak to express. Their words don't demand attention. They invite it. Their tone doesn't force belief, it earns it. They speak less, but they speak meaningfully. They choose honesty over polish, empathy over performance. That's what gives their voice weight. Every time you speak, you have a choice: to build walls with words or to build trust. When you say something, mean it fully. Don't exaggerate. Don't promise what you can't deliver. People can forgive mistakes, but they don't forget deception. Consistency is the heartbeat of trust. It's not what you say once. It's what you say and do repeatedly. When your words stay steady over time, your presence becomes dependable. People start to believe you, not because of emotion, but because of experience. That's how trust truly grows. One honest word at a time. One kept promise at a time. One moment of integrity after another. Words have the power to build or break belief. You can use them as weapons, or you can use them as healing. When someone feels heard by you, when they feel understood, they begin to trust your presence more than your promises. And that's when communication becomes a bond. Trust isn't built in the loud moments. It's built in the quiet ones. When you listen without interrupting, when you admit without defending, when you comfort without needing credit. Every "I understand," every "I'm here," every "I'll handle it" that you actually keep cements trust deeper. Your tone matters as much as your truth. A harsh truth can break someone if delivered carelessly, but the same truth, spoken with compassion, can set them free. Trust doesn't come from speaking loudly. It comes from speaking gently. Gentle voices last longer in people's memories because they carry safety, not pressure. When people feel safe around your words, they naturally open up. They share. They engage. They follow. That's why the best communicators aren't just good with language. They're good with emotion. They sense when to speak and when to stay silent. They feel when to push and when to pause. They understand that every word leaves an emotional footprint, so they walk carefully. Trust is not something you demand. It's something you earn through consistency. You can build it slowly through small moments of honesty, through owning your mistakes, through apologizing sincerely, through following up when you say you will. Each of those moments leaves a mark that says, "You can rely on me." Words carry that mark deeper than action alone ever could. Because actions show effort, but words show intention. When someone says, "You can count on me," and they mean it, you can feel it. You don't need proof. You feel it in your bones. That's the power of aligned communication. It bypasses logic and speaks straight to the heart. You can practice this every day. Start by slowing down your speech. Don't rush your sentences. Let each one land fully. When you speak slowly, people sense patience. When you speak softly, they sense respect. When you speak sincerely, they sense safety. That combination creates trust without effort. Trustworthy words are grounded. They don't wobble with emotion. They don't rise with ego. They stand steady like calm water, and people are drawn to calm water. When you communicate, your energy tells people whether to open or close. When you come from truth, they open. When you come from ego, they close. Be aware of how your energy feels as you speak. If it's rushed, slow down. If it's tense, breathe. If it's heavy, lighten it with empathy. That small awareness changes everything. Your goal isn't to be perfect. Your goal is to be real. Trust is not found in flawless words. It's found in the courage to be honest. Say, "I don't know," when you don't. Say, "I'm sorry," when you should. Say, "I understand," when you truly do. These simple phrases are powerful because they come from humility, and humility is the soul of trust. When people sense humility in your tone, they relax. They stop defending. They start relating. That's the moment your words start healing. Trust doesn't grow in manipulation. It grows in clarity. You don't need to be the smartest in the room. You just need to be the most sincere. Speak from your core. Don't hide behind cleverness. Don't decorate your words to sound impressive. The truth, when spoken with heart, is always enough. Because the heart recognizes truth instantly. It doesn't need explanation. When you speak honestly, you build an invisible thread between souls. That thread becomes the foundation of lasting communication. And once trust is built, you no longer need to talk much. Your presence itself speaks. People begin to sense your reliability without words. They trust your silence as much as your speech. That's the highest level of communication. When trust is so deep, it no longer needs proof. But it all starts with words. The right ones. The honest ones. The ones that match your soul. So speak carefully. Speak gently. Speak truthfully, because every word you speak either builds a bridge or burns one. And the ones who build, the ones who speak from heart, from calm, from integrity, they are the ones people never forget. That's how you build trust with your words, not through power, but through presence. Not through performance, but through truth. Not through volume, but through soul. Chapter 8. The role of tone and emotion in communication. Your words carry meaning, but your tone gives them life. The tone in your voice tells the truth your words can't hide. It reveals what you really feel, even when you try to sound composed. Tone is emotion made audible. It's the bridge between thought and feeling. It's what transforms plain speech into connection. A single sentence can change meaning entirely based on tone. Say, "I'm fine," with warmth, and it brings comfort. Say it with tension, and it becomes a warning. That's how powerful tone is. It paints emotion into every word you speak. People don't only listen to what you say, they feel how you say it. Your tone tells them whether to trust you, whether to relax, or whether to guard themselves. Communication isn't about vocabulary, it's about vibration. Every emotion you carry has a sound. Confidence sounds steady. Kindness sounds soft. Fear sounds rushed. Anger sounds sharp. Peace sounds slow. Your tone is like a mirror of your internal world. It reflects what's happening inside you. If you're anxious, people will feel it. If you're calm, they'll match that calm. If you're joyful, your words will feel brighter even before they finish. That's why emotional control is at the heart of communication. You can't separate emotion from tone. They move together. Even silence carries tone. The way you pause, the way you breathe, the way your voice returns, all of it tells people how you feel. A calm voice builds trust faster than perfect words ever can. It shows strength, presence, and maturity. When your tone matches your message, your speech feels whole. When it doesn't, something feels off. People can't explain it, but they sense it. That's why emotionally intelligent communicators always tune their tone before they speak. They don't just plan their words, they align their energy. Before every conversation, ask yourself silently, what energy am I bringing? Are you calm? Are you tense? Are you kind? Are you cold? Because that energy will travel through your tone. The most powerful voices in the world aren't the loudest ones. They're the most grounded. They speak slowly, clearly, and emotionally aware. You can feel peace in their rhythm. You can hear confidence in their pauses. Tone is rhythm. It's the heartbeat of your message. When it beats smoothly, people listen longer. But when your tone feels sharp or unstable, they close off. They stop trusting. They stop connecting. Emotion is the soul of tone. It's the invisible current that pulls people closer or pushes them away. If you speak with frustration, your tone tightens. If you speak with empathy, it softens. If you speak with arrogance, it rises. If you speak with sincerity, it settles. That's why emotional awareness is so important. Because you can't fix your tone until you feel your emotion. Your voice tells your truth before your brain approves it. If your heart isn't aligned with your words, people hear the mismatch. Even if they don't know why, they'll sense discomfort. That's the power of emotional communication. It bypasses logic and reaches the subconscious. You can't hide how you feel through words alone, but you can transform how you feel by calming your tone. Your tone can heal tension. It can bring peace where there was anger. It can rebuild trust after conflict, because the human voice carries emotional medicine. The right tone can lower walls that logic never could. When you speak gently, people lower their defenses. When you speak kindly, people open their hearts. When you speak slowly, people listen fully. The tone of your voice teaches others how to feel around you. If your tone feels rushed, they'll feel anxious. If your tone feels steady, they'll feel secure. If your tone feels joyful, they'll feel hopeful. That's the secret of connection. Your emotion becomes contagious through tone. Think of tone as color. Every time you speak, you're painting emotion into the air. You can paint calm blues, warm golds, peaceful whites, or harsh reds, cold grays, restless blacks. The listener will always feel the color, even if they don't understand the words. That's why emotional tone matters more than eloquence. A heartfelt thank you connects more than a well-rehearsed speech. A calm, "It's okay" soothes more than 100 explanations. A sincere "I understand" heals more than advice ever will. The way you sound is a reflection of the way you care. When you speak with warmth, people sense humanity. When you speak with coldness, they sense distance. When you speak with composure, they sense leadership. Your tone is not only what you project outward, it's what you project inward too. The tone you use with yourself shapes your inner world. If you talk to yourself with harshness, you drain your own confidence. If you speak gently to yourself, you build it. Your voice becomes your environment. And that environment becomes the emotional tone of your life. That's why self-compassion is part of communication. The calmer you are with yourself, the calmer you sound to others. Emotionally balanced people don't need to force confidence. Their tone carries it naturally. They've learned to speak from the chest, not the throat. From the heart, not the mind. From peace, not pressure. When your tone carries that kind of depth, people feel your sincerity instantly. Even in disagreement, your tone decides whether others stay defensive or open. It's not what you say that breaks people. It's how you say it. A soft voice can carry a hard truth gently. A harsh voice can turn kindness into insult. That's the difference tone makes. It's not decoration, it's meaning. Every communicator who changes lives does so with tone. Their words are simple, but their emotion makes them unforgettable. Tone is what gives truth wings. It's what carries your intention through the air and into someone's heart. When your emotion and tone work together, your communication feels effortless. You don't have to convince anyone. They just believe you, because they can feel that you mean it. To master your tone, listen to yourself. Record your voice. Notice your pace. Notice your rhythm. Notice the warmth or tension in your sound. You'll start to hear your emotions speaking through it. Then begin to soften. Slow down your sentences. Speak from calmness, not speed. You'll notice people respond differently. They'll listen longer. They'll mirror your calm. They'll feel your sincerity. That's the real magic of tone. It shapes not just your message, but the entire emotional atmosphere of your interaction. A calm tone makes people feel safe. A loving tone makes them feel valued. A confident tone makes them feel inspired. That's how tone and emotion work together. They create connection before words even finish. Your tone can do what your words can't. It can comfort, heal, inspire, and build peace. So before you speak next time, don't just think about what to say. Think about how you want others to feel when they hear it. Let your tone carry kindness. Let your voice carry calm. Let your emotion carry truth. Because the right tone doesn't just change conversations. It changes people. It changes hearts. It changes the world around you, one gentle word at a time. Chapter 9. The Art of Nonverbal Understanding. Some of the most powerful conversations in life happen without words. They live in the silence between sentences, in the glance between strangers, in the small gestures that say what speech cannot. Nonverbal understanding is the art of hearing what isn't said. It's seeing emotions written across faces, feeling tension in the air, sensing truth through energy. You don't have to speak to communicate. You just have to notice. Every person carries an invisible language. It lives in their eyes, their shoulders, their pauses, their movements. And when you learn to read that language, you start to understand people in ways words never could. Because speech can lie, but the body never does. You can say "I'm okay" while your hands tremble. You can smile while your eyes ache. You can stay silent while your shoulders scream exhaustion. Nonverbal understanding lets you hear those silent signals. It lets you connect beneath the surface, where real emotion lives. Most people listen with their ears, but the best communicators listen with their eyes, their intuition, their presence. They see what others miss. A nervous tap of a foot, a slight tightening of the jaw, a distant gaze that says more than any sentence could. These details are the heartbeat of human truth. When you pay attention, the world speaks to you in gestures. The way someone crosses their arms can reveal defense. The way they lean forward can reveal curiosity. The way they avoid eye contact can reveal fear or respect. You don't have to decode people, you just have to feel them. Because nonverbal communication isn't about technique. It's about awareness. It's noticing energy. It's feeling emotions in the space between words. It's understanding that silence often speaks louder than speech. Sometimes a nod says more than a paragraph. Sometimes a sigh tells a story. Sometimes a quiet presence heals without explanation. That's the power of nonverbal understanding. It requires stillness. You can't pick up subtle energy when you're rushing through life. You can't sense emotion when your mind is filled with noise. So slow down. Be still. Let your senses listen. When you become present, your perception sharpens. You begin to see patterns. You begin to feel the mood before the words arrive. That's emotional intelligence beyond speech, the ability to read hearts, not just hear voices. Every environment has its own emotional temperature. A room can feel heavy before anyone speaks. A meeting can feel tense before it begins. A person can feel distant before they even say hello. When you're non-verbally aware, you sense that instantly. It helps you respond more intelligently. You adjust your tone. You soften your presence. You slow your pace. That's what makes conversations flow more smoothly. You're responding not just to words, but to feelings. Non-verbal communication is not just about observation. It's about resonance. You don't just see. You feel. You feel when someone's heart is open. You feel when someone's mind is guarded. You feel when someone needs silence more than advice. Those who master nonverbal understanding know when to speak and when to stay quiet. They don't interrupt emotional flow with unnecessary words. They allow moments to breathe, and in that space, connection deepens. Silence, when used with awareness, becomes communication itself. It says, I'm here. It says, I understand. It says you don't have to explain. That kind of presence builds trust faster than speech ever could. Nonverbal understanding also makes you a better leader, friend, or partner, because you start seeing people beyond what they show. You start hearing the truth beneath their performance. Sometimes the strongest people don't say they're tired, but their posture collapses. Sometimes the happiest faces hide sadness behind practiced smiles. Sometimes those who talk the most do so to hide what hurts most. When you become aware of these signs, your compassion grows. You stop judging people for what they say. You start understanding them for what they feel. That's the beginning of true connection. Nonverbal understanding also helps you control your own communication. When you become aware of others' body language, you start becoming aware of your own. You notice how you sit, how you breathe, how your hands move when you're anxious, how your eyes drift when you're bored. That awareness transforms you. You begin to take ownership of your energy. You begin to express calm through your body, because calmness is contagious. So is tension. Your body teaches others how to treat you. If you stay open, they open. If you stay grounded, they relax. If you stay tense, they mirror your unease. Nonverbal understanding isn't just reading others. It's aligning yourself with peace, so you can communicate peace. Every communicator leaves an emotional echo behind. After you leave a room, people remember how your energy felt, not how your words sounded, how your presence lingered. That's what makes energy communication more powerful than verbal communication. It bypasses logic. It speaks straight to emotion. People might forget your message, but they will never forget how they felt around you. That's why the most magnetic communicators focus less on speaking right and more on being right inside. When your energy is balanced, your nonverbal communication becomes magnetic. You draw people without effort. You calm them without words. You inspire them without speeches. That's not manipulation. That's alignment. When you carry kindness in your energy, people sense it. When you carry judgment, they withdraw. When you carry confidence, they trust you. Nonverbal understanding helps you master that invisible conversation, the one that happens in energy, expression, and silence. Your body language, your breathing, your gaze, they all broadcast your inner world. So if you want your communication to be powerful, start by tuning your energy. Before you walk into a room, pause, center yourself, release tension from your shoulders, breathe deeply. Let your mind quiet before you enter someone else's energy. That's how presence begins. Calm entering chaos, awareness entering noise. The best communicators are those who can bring peace to a conversation simply by being there. They don't dominate space. They harmonize it. That's the highest form of communication, when your energy speaks so clearly that your words become secondary. When people feel understood without explanation, when silence feels like comfort, when your presence alone communicates respect, you've mastered the art of nonverbal understanding. It's not learned from textbooks. It's learned from stillness, from empathy, from paying attention. You don't have to say more to connect deeper. You just have to be more aware. Nonverbal understanding is the quiet bridge between human hearts. It carries truth beyond sound. It builds trust beyond logic. It creates harmony beyond words. That's what makes it an art. The art of sensing, not just seeing. Feeling, not just hearing. Understanding, not just reacting. When you master this art, you no longer struggle to communicate, because your very presence becomes your message. Chapter 10. The energy of presence. There's a kind of power that doesn't need to speak. It doesn't demand attention. It simply draws it. That power is presence. Presence is not what you do. It's what you carry. It's the quiet strength that walks before your words. Some people enter a room and shift the entire atmosphere without saying a single thing. Not because of their looks or clothes or titles, but because their energy feels grounded, calm, certain, balanced. That's the energy of presence, the invisible force that makes people stop, listen, and trust. Presence begins in stillness. It's born in those quiet moments when you breathe deeply, when your thoughts settle, when your mind stops running ahead of the moment. Presence is being here, not thinking about what's next, not remembering what's past, just here. When you are fully here, people can feel it. Your eyes stay focused. Your energy stays steady. Your words slow down. You become the calm inside everyone else's storm. And that calm is magnetic. People crave presence because they rarely experience it. Most conversations today are half-lived. One person talks while the other scrolls. One person listens while planning their reply. Nobody's truly here. That's why presence feels sacred. It's rare. It's real. Presence is respect. When you give someone your full attention, you tell them, you matter. When you listen with stillness, you say, I see you. You don't have to say much to be memorable. You just have to be present. Presence carries a certain rhythm, the rhythm of emotional control. It's what keeps your tone calm, even when tension rises. It's what keeps your body relaxed, even when the moment is intense. Presence is not pretending to be calm. It's being calm enough to not need to pretend. You build it through awareness, by learning to feel your energy before you express it. Before you speak, check your breath. Before you respond, check your posture. Before you walk into a room, check your focus. That small awareness changes how people experience you. The more present you are, the more clearly people feel your confidence. You don't have to prove yourself. You simply exist with quiet authority. That's what makes presence powerful. It doesn't ask for attention, it commands it through peace. In any interaction, your energy speaks before your language. If your energy feels scattered, people sense chaos. If your energy feels calm, people sense trust. You've felt this before, when someone enters a space, and suddenly everything feels lighter. Or when someone walks in and tension fills the air. That's the invisible language of presence. It's not taught, it's transmitted. When your energy is steady, others align with it. When it's anxious, they mirror it. That's why emotional grounding is essential. You can't fake presence. You can only cultivate it. It's built through habits of stillness, through breathing, awareness, gratitude, reflection. Every moment you practice being present with yourself, you strengthen your ability to be present with others. Presence is emotional generosity. It's giving your full attention to another person without agenda. It's listening without waiting. It's noticing small details, their voice, their expression, their energy. It's not about control, it's about connection. The best communicators don't chase people, they anchor them. Their calm draws others in. Their energy feels safe, and in that safety, words find their place. You can't connect deeply when your mind is elsewhere. You can't inspire when your attention is divided, but when you're fully in the moment, every word lands. Presence makes your words heavier, not with weight, but with meaning. Even a simple thank you feels alive when spoken from full awareness. That's the difference between ordinary speech and powerful communication. The depth of your presence behind it. Presence also reveals character. People who are truly present don't need to dominate space. They share it. They don't rush. They breathe. They allow others to exist beside them without pressure. That's emotional maturity. That's inner strength. When you develop presence, your silence begins to carry influence. People look to you for cues. They feel stability in your stillness. They sense clarity in your calm. You don't have to lead through volume. You lead through vibration. Presence teaches you to read energy before reacting. It gives you time to choose your tone, your pace, your response. Instead of reacting to emotion, you respond with intention. Instead of matching chaos, you restore balance. That's what makes presence a leadership skill. It regulates energy, not just conversation. To build presence, slow down your world. Speak a little slower. Walk a little lighter. Listen a little deeper. When your rhythm becomes slower, your awareness expands. You start noticing the tiny things that others miss. A change in someone's breathing, a shift in their eyes, a pause in their sentence that means more than words. You begin to communicate not just through sound, but through energy. People can feel when you're genuinely with them. They can feel when you're pretending. Presence cannot be faked. It either exists or it doesn't. Presence doesn't demand that you always know what to say. It asks that you be real enough to not pretend. Sometimes, the most powerful response is quiet understanding. Sometimes your energy says more than your explanation. That's why stillness is not weakness. It's awareness. The most powerful people in a room are usually the most centered. They don't rush to speak. They don't need to fill silence. They observe. They feel. Then they act. Because they know their energy does half the work before words even begin. Your energy is your communication signature. It tells people what kind of space they're stepping into. If your energy is chaotic, conversations lose balance. If your energy is steady, they find direction. Presence is that steady rhythm that never breaks. A calm pulse that keeps everything around it in sync. When you master presence, you stop chasing connection. Connection starts chasing you. People want to be near those who are calm. They want to talk to those who truly listen. They want to follow those who carry peace in their posture. Presence is not loud. It's quiet confidence. It's the look in your eyes that says you're not rushing anywhere. It's the tone in your voice that says you mean what you say. It's the stillness in your energy that says you're in control of yourself. Presence is how confidence feels to others. And when people feel your presence, they don't just hear you, they experience you. That's when communication becomes transformation. Because words can be forgotten, but energy never fades. The right presence can change the mood of a room, heal a tense situation, and make someone feel understood without explanation. That's what it means to talk to anyone. Not by using perfect words, but by carrying perfect awareness. Your presence is your message. Your energy is your language. When you enter a room, bring peace with you. When you speak, let calm carry your tone. When you listen, let your silence speak comfort. Because the energy of presence doesn't just make you heard, it makes you remembered. Chapter 11. The psychology of connection. Connection is not built on words, it's built on emotion. On the quiet, invisible rhythm between two minds that decide, you feel safe to me. That's where it begins. The psychology of connection is simple but powerful. People don't remember what you say, they remember how you made them feel. Every human being is looking for one thing: understanding. We all want to be seen without judgment, heard without interruption, and accepted without condition. When someone gives us that feeling, something deep unlocks. We relax. We open up. We connect. Connection is not forced. It happens naturally when safety replaces fear, and that safety begins with presence, tone, and intention. Every time you speak to someone, their brain is scanning for emotional cues. Are you safe? Are you judging? Are you genuine? The moment they sense threat, even subtle, their mind shuts the door. But when they sense warmth, the door opens. That's the psychology of connection. It's not logic that brings people closer. It's emotion. Your tone, your body language, your eye contact, they send signals to the emotional brain before your words even reach the rational one. If your tone feels harsh, they protect. If your eyes dart, they doubt. If your energy feels grounded, they trust. The brain reacts to emotion first, reason second. So if you want to connect deeply, stop trying to sound perfect. Start trying to feel real. Authenticity is the bridge to trust. When your energy matches your intention, people believe you even when you speak softly. Connection lives in alignment. When you say "I understand" and your eyes show empathy, it lands. When you say "I care" and your tone holds peace, it's felt. But when your words and energy clash, people sense the distance immediately. Humans are emotional detectors. We can't always explain why we feel someone's off, but we know it. It's instinct. It's protection. That's why the best communicators don't just use words. They use emotion wisely. They know when to soften. They know when to pause. They know when to let silence speak instead of sound. Every great connection has rhythm. A psychological dance between expression and listening, energy and empathy, space and closeness. When that rhythm flows naturally, both people feel at ease. That's when communication transforms from talking to bonding. The psychology of connection is rooted in mirroring. Not imitation, but emotional reflection. When you mirror someone's energy gently, their pace, their tone, their calm, you make them feel understood. Their brain feels same, and same feels safe. That's why connection feels so effortless with some people. It's not magic. It's emotional harmony. You've felt it before. When a conversation felt light, when time seemed to slow down, when someone's presence made you feel calm without words. That's resonance, the deep psychological synchronization between energies. But to create it, you must drop pretense. You must stop performing and start feeling. Connection is not built by trying to impress. It's built by being real enough for others to relax around you. When you're honest, others sense permission to be honest too. When you're calm, they find their balance. When you're genuine, they lower their guard. That's how energy connects minds long before words connect meaning. Connection doesn't always happen through similarity. It happens through empathy. You don't need to live someone's story to understand it. You just need to care enough to feel it. When you feel what they feel, the walls drop. The space between you becomes human. That's the essence of connection, shared emotion, not shared experience. You don't connect by showing how much you know. You connect by showing how much you notice. When someone speaks, listen not just to their words but to their pauses, their tone, their energy. Sometimes the truth hides in hesitation. Sometimes emotion hides behind humor. Sometimes pain hides in silence. Understanding those hidden signals is emotional intelligence, the psychological key to connection. The more aware you become of emotional cues, the deeper your relationships grow, because people start feeling seen at levels they didn't know were visible. You stop needing the right words. Your presence becomes enough. That's how trust begins, quietly, naturally, through awareness. Connection also requires vulnerability. When you open up genuinely, you give others permission to do the same. It tells them, it's safe here. But vulnerability isn't weakness. It's courage. It's saying I'm human too, in a world that rewards masks. When someone feels your honesty, they connect to your truth, not your perfection. Perfection creates distance. Authenticity creates belonging. In every conversation, you are either building distance or closeness. Every tone, every gesture, every pause either says come closer or stay away. The more aware you are of this energy exchange, the more control you have over your influence. Connection doesn't require effort. It requires attention. You don't need to plan connection. You need to notice it. It's in the little things. The way you smile when someone speaks. The way you wait a second before replying. The way you make space for silence without awkwardness. These small moments tell people that your focus is on them, not yourself. That's what makes you unforgettable. The psychology of connection also rests on authenticity of emotion. Forced kindness feels heavy. True kindness feels light. The brain can sense emotional congruence instantly. When your internal emotion matches your external behavior, people feel harmony. When it doesn't, they feel tension. That's why fake positivity never connects. It confuses the emotional brain. But when you speak from genuine calm, your energy soothes, your tone grounds, your words land deeper. Connection is never about more talking. It's about better feeling. You connect with others the same way you connect with music through resonance. The melody might change, but it's the rhythm you remember. When your emotional rhythm matches someone's heart, they remember you long after you're gone. Connection also grows in consistency. When your energy stays stable over time, people learn to trust it. They stop scanning for danger. They stop expecting mood shifts. They relax into your presence. That's when communication becomes effortless, because your energy becomes predictable, and predictability feels safe. The human brain is wired for safety. When people feel emotionally safe, their creativity rises, their honesty grows, their connection deepens. You don't need to control that process. You just need to create it through calmness, empathy, and emotional alignment. The psychology of connection is not complicated. It's about making people feel they matter. When they feel seen, they listen. When they feel valued, they engage. When they feel safe, they open. You can't fake that. It's an energy the heart recognizes instantly. That's why great communicators feel rare, not because they're gifted speakers, but because they make people feel real again. So as you go forward, remember this. Connection is not something you perform. It's something you allow. Let your words be simple. Let your tone be calm. Let your energy be sincere. Because when your presence says you matter, your silence says, I see you, and your energy says, you're safe. You've already spoken the language of connection. And that's the psychology behind every true bond. Not speech, not perfection, but pure human understanding. Chapter 12, Communicating with Empathy and Compassion. Empathy is not just understanding someone's pain. It's feeling it without needing to fix it. Compassion is not pity. It's care in motion. It's the strength to sit beside someone in their silence and say, "I'm here." When empathy and compassion enter your communication, your words stop being noise. They become healing. The world listens differently when you speak with heart. Your tone softens. Your energy slows. Your presence deepens. People sense that you're not just hearing, you're feeling. And that feeling is what connects more than anything else. Empathy is not something you learn in a book. It's something you remember. Because every human has known pain. Every heart has broken. Every soul has felt misunderstood. When you remember your own hurt, you understand someone else's. That memory turns into compassion. It gives you patience when others stumble. It gives you calm when others cry. It gives you kindness when others close off. Empathy teaches you that people don't always need advice. They need presence. They don't need you to speak. They need you to stay. That's how connection grows, not through fixing, but through feeling. Empathy doesn't say, "I know what you feel." It says, "I can feel that you're hurting." Compassion doesn't say, "You'll be fine." It says, "You're not alone." That difference changes everything, because words can't heal wounds alone. But understanding can, and sometimes silence can too. The best communicators don't rush to speak. They listen with their entire being. They sense emotion before they analyze meaning. They see the trembling lip before the tear. They hear the pause before the words. They feel the pain before the explanation. That sensitivity is not weakness. It's wisdom. Empathy gives your words color. Compassion gives them warmth. Together they give your communication soul. When you speak with empathy, your tone becomes gentle without losing strength. Your body language becomes open without losing boundaries. Your energy becomes kind without losing clarity. Empathy is not emotional overflow, it's emotional awareness. You don't drown in another's pain. You simply hold space for it. That space is sacred. It tells the other person, "You are safe here." And that safety allows healing. In every conversation, there's a choice, to defend or to understand. Empathy always chooses understanding. You can disagree and still stay kind. You can correct someone and still stay gentle. You can lead someone and still stay human. That's the mark of compassion, power without pressure, truth without cruelty. Empathy doesn't make you soft. It makes you strong enough to stay calm in another's storm. When someone feels emotional chaos, your stillness becomes their anchor. That's the quiet power of compassion. Stability in motion. You'll notice people trust you more. When they feel your empathy, they lower their walls. They speak openly. They start revealing parts of themselves they usually hide, because compassion disarms fear. It tells people, "You won't be judged here." Empathy transforms conversations into healing spaces. A single genuine sentence can lift the weight someone has carried for years. Even a few words like "I get you" or "That must be hard" or "I'm proud of you" can reach places where logic never could. That's what emotional communication does. It reaches the soul, not just the mind. But empathy requires awareness. You can't offer understanding if you're not emotionally present. You can't be compassionate if your heart is closed. That's why empathy begins with self-kindness. When you forgive yourself for your flaws, you stop judging others for theirs. When you give yourself grace, you start offering it naturally to the world. People who are harsh inside rarely sound kind outside. But when you speak from peace, your compassion flows like water. Empathy also means seeing beyond the surface. Sometimes anger hides pain. Sometimes silence hides fear. Sometimes coldness hides loneliness. When you look deeper, you stop reacting to the emotion and start responding to the need behind it. That's real empathy. Understanding what's unspoken. Compassion takes it one step further. It asks, how can I bring ease here? Not by fixing, but by helping someone carry what they can't carry alone. It might be a kind word. It might be a quiet presence. It might just be a soft smile that says, "I see you." That's all some people need. Because sometimes just knowing someone notices is enough to start healing. When you speak from compassion, your communication becomes medicine. You stop trying to win, to argue, to prove. You start trying to connect, to soothe, to understand. And in that shift, conversations stop being battles, they become bridges. Empathy allows you to speak from the heart, even in disagreement. You can say hard things with soft edges. You can set boundaries with love instead of anger. You learn that kindness and firmness can coexist, that truth and tenderness can live in the same voice. That balance is emotional mastery, the place where empathy meets strength. Every human being you meet carries a silent story. Most of those stories are filled with chapters no one has read. When you communicate with empathy, you give them a moment to feel seen inside their own story. That's more powerful than any advice you could ever give. Empathy doesn't require big words. It requires big awareness. Notice the small things, the hesitation before they speak, the look in their eyes when they hide emotion, the change in their breathing when they mention something painful. Be gentle there. Don't rush. Don't judge. Just hold space. When people feel that from you, they remember you forever. Because empathy doesn't just touch ears. It touches hearts. Compassion is love, translated into action. It's the way you respond when someone's in need. It's the softness you bring when the world is harsh. Compassion is strength wrapped in kindness. It doesn't push. It embraces. It doesn't shout. It steadies. It doesn't force. It flows. When you combine empathy and compassion in communication, you become a safe place for others. They come to you not because you have answers, but because you have peace. That peace is magnetic. It makes people open up. It makes conversations feel alive, honest, human. And that's when communication stops being skill. It becomes connection. To communicate with empathy and compassion is to see every person as a reflection of yourself. Their pain could be yours. Their joy could be yours. Their fears, their hopes, their confusion, all human, all shared. When you speak from that realization, your words become sacred. They heal instead of harm. They guide instead of control. They unite instead of divide. Empathy makes you feel. Compassion makes you act. Together, they make you human in the deepest sense. Because communication is not about speaking perfectly. It's about understanding deeply. So when you speak next time, let your voice carry patience. Let your tone carry love. Let your presence carry peace. Because empathy heard through the heart stays longer than any sound heard through the ear. That's how you communicate with empathy and compassion. By becoming the kind of person whose very presence says, "You're safe here, you're seen, you matter." Chapter 13. The Art of Meaningful Conversations. Every conversation leaves a mark. Some fade with time. Some stay forever. Meaningful conversations are not about the number of words exchanged. They're about the depth those words reach. They happen rarely, and always between people who are willing to be real. They begin when ego steps aside and authenticity walks in. Meaningful conversations are not built on noise, they're built on presence. When two people are truly there, listening, feeling, connecting, time slows down. The air changes. The world disappears for a moment, and only understanding remains. That's when words become bridges. That's when silence becomes sacred. To have meaningful conversations, you must first unlearn performance. Stop talking to impress. Start talking to express. You don't need to sound smart. You need to sound sincere. People don't open up to perfection. They open up to presence. Every meaningful exchange begins with one person choosing to listen beyond words, to listen for emotion, for energy, for the heartbeat behind the sentence. When someone feels that you're truly hearing them, not waiting to respond, not judging, not rushing, they feel safe enough to show who they are. And that's where meaning lives. It lives in the honesty of the moment, in the courage to say, "This is me," in the grace to say, "I understand." Meaningful conversations are not about talking more. They're about talking right. Every word matters because it comes from awareness, not reaction. When you're present, you begin to see what's real. You see that people don't need advice as much as they need acceptance. They don't want correction as much as they want connection. They don't seek answers, they seek acknowledgement. And when you give them that, their walls drop, their tone softens, their soul breathes. That's when communication transforms into communion. To create meaningful conversations, slow down your energy. Don't rush to fill silence. Let it breathe. Meaning grows in space, not in speed. It grows in reflection, not reaction. When you pause before replying, you give both yourself and the other person time to feel the truth. That pause is not empty. It's filled with respect. Meaningful conversations also require vulnerability. You can't build depth from behind walls. You must step out, show your humanness, and allow someone to see the real you. Unpolished, imperfect, honest. That honesty invites honesty. That courage invites connection. Every time you share your truth with humility, you create a ripple of safety that pulls others closer. That's how meaning grows, through courage and care intertwined. Meaningful conversations are not only about deep topics. Even simple words can hold depth when spoken with intention. A thank you that comes from the heart. A take care that carries warmth. A how have you been that truly waits for the answer. It's not the language that gives meaning. It's the love behind it. Meaningful communication doesn't shout. It whispers truth. It holds eye contact. It listens like it's praying. It speaks like it's giving. In a world where everyone wants to be heard, be the one who hears. When you listen deeply, people remember you differently. Because listening is not passive, it's powerful. It tells people they exist. And that validation is one of the greatest gifts you can offer another human being. Every meaningful conversation is an act of generosity. You give your time, your attention, your emotion. The most valuable things you own. That's why it's rare. And that's why it's unforgettable. Meaningful conversations also require balance. A blend of empathy and honesty. Too much empathy without truth creates comfort without growth. Too much truth without empathy creates clarity without connection. Meaning lies in the middle, where honesty meets compassion. You can disagree with respect. You can challenge with care. You can correct with kindness. That balance is emotional intelligence in action. It's what makes your communication mature, not mechanical. Meaningful conversations don't always end perfectly. Sometimes they leave silence. Sometimes they leave questions. Sometimes they leave peace. And that's okay. Because meaning is not about closure. It's about connection. You can feel deeply understood even without full agreement. Because understanding is not sameness, it's acceptance. The most meaningful people are not those who talk the most. They're those who make others feel the most. They don't walk into conversations looking for control. They walk in looking for truth. They speak with intention. They listen with humility. They leave space for humanity. And when they leave light behind. If you want your conversations to hold meaning, bring presence, bring patience, bring peace. Don't talk just to respond. Talk to reveal. Don't listen just to reply. Listen to relate. Because when your words come from love, they always find their way into hearts. Meaningful conversations also grow from curiosity. Curiosity about who someone really is, what shapes them, what moves them. When you're genuinely curious, you stop making assumptions. You ask with sincerity. You listen with wonder. You learn instead of judge. That's how connection deepens through genuine interest. You start seeing people not as labels, but as living stories. Each word they say carries history. Each silence they hold carries pain or pride. And when you see that, you treat every conversation as sacred. The art of meaningful conversation is also the art of emotional rhythm. You sense when to speak, when to pause, when to breathe. You don't dominate, you dance. Every great communicator knows that a conversation is not a performance. It's a shared creation. When two energies align with honesty and care, they create something larger than both. That's why meaningful conversations leave you lighter, not heavier. You walk away feeling heard, healed, and human. The secret of this art is attention. Where your attention goes, meaning grows. If your attention is scattered, your connection weakens. If your attention is pure, your presence deepens. To master the art of meaningful conversation, you must master presence. Stay where you are. Feel the moment. Notice the tone. Notice the energy. Every conversation carries a vibration. If you match that energy with calm awareness, you guide it gently toward peace. Meaningful communication is not about control. It's about harmony. You don't force understanding. You allow it. You don't demand honesty. You invite it. That's the subtle beauty of this art. And when you truly embody it, you stop talking just to talk. You start talking to transform. Your words stop being sound. They become sanctuary. Your presence stops being physical. It becomes emotional safety. And that's what makes you unforgettable. Not what you said, but how you made others feel alive again. Every meaningful conversation has two gifts. It reveals you to others, and it reveals others to you. Through words, you meet yourself. Through listening, you meet the world. So speak with care, listen with heart, and leave every person a little lighter than you found them. That's not just communication, that's contribution. And if you can master that, if you can make people feel seen, heard, and valued, you'll never struggle to talk to anyone again. Because you won't just be speaking to people, you'll be speaking to souls. That's the highest form of communication. That's the true art of conversation. That's what it means to connect as a human being. Final note. This book is not about learning to speak perfectly. It's about remembering how to feel deeply. Because the best communicators don't speak to impress. They speak to express truth, empathy, and love. And when you can do that, when your words carry awareness, when your silence carries peace, when your presence carries warmth, you've already mastered the language that everyone understands, the language of the heart.